Hello and welcome back to How I Make Ambient Music with a Mustache. Today I'm going to be talking about how I write melodies. So I'm going to take you through start to finish, not of a track, but like how I would come up with some melody ideas, and then also talk about some philosophies that I think are really important. So I'm not going to dive into every aspect of tones and chord structure and theory and all that stuff, but this will be just a little bit more basic about my process, and hopefully you'll gain something from that. Let's just create something together. I pull up this pad. It's just a really basic strings patch. I've showed this in other videos of mine. And then there's some silver verb, some pitch shift edge shimmer, more verb, and then a cutoff filter. So I'm just going to play a chord progression. I might actually, a lot of times when I'm making something, I'll do a chord progression and then I'll loop it. But I might actually spend a good amount of time on the chord progression, making it feel inspiring so that by the time I hit my melody, there's already a really good foundation that inspires me to create something I'm excited about. So spending a decent amount of time getting something that's inspiring sounding to you is helpful for me anyway. Okay, so I'll just loop that. Nothing too crazy fancy. And I think that's a value in my writing, is like even the most simple chord progressions can speak volumes depending on the tone and the story that they tell of like what comes before and after and how they flow and how you voice them. So I really love simple stuff. So I'll do a really simple chord progression and voice it a certain way until I really am happy with it. And then I'll just jump into getting ideas down. And I'll sit here when I'm working on a song. I could sit here doing this part for sometimes as long as it takes me to do the actual track itself. So I'll just start going out and see what comes out. Again, I'm not necessarily going to go deep into the structure of like exactly what I was playing and why I chose to play that. You know, what I'll do here is, even if I don't love an idea, a lot of times I'll just hit mute and then I'll go and do another one. I think this is one of those skills that you have to practice at every day. So a lot of times what I was doing is I would write something and record something every day and I wouldn't use it. But I would come back later and be like, oh, I really like that. Sometimes I did end up using it. Writing melodies, writing chord structures and melodies that glue together nicely is like playing an instrument. Like, it's a skill you have to hone. And so practicing your instrument is one of the things. But if you want to get good at writing melodies, things that hit you on an emotional level and hook you, that's something you have to craft. It's like singing. Like, some people are just naturally really good singers, but they still have to work on it. Like, it's not just like they get up there and they're singing all technique and everything's perfect all the time. They still have to work. Some people may be naturally more inclined, but some people who are absolutely terrible singers can work at it for a long time and get to a level it's like, oh wow, this is really good. It's very important to not just rely only on natural ability and not to rely on theory. I think sometimes people think theory will solve the issue of writing better melodies. Can theory help? Absolutely. But you can write fantastic melodies without knowing anything about theory, know how to play an instrument, and you're willing to work at writing lines every day. You listen to music you like and you kind of learn how they're voicing stuff and why they're voicing stuff a certain way, and then just do it every day. All right, enough talking. Here we go. The worst. Hate it. But you know what? I'm going to keep it because when I come back, it may jog something. It's not bad. Let's do another one. And then I'll go back and listen through each one a little bit and see which one jogs. Can't remember that one. What about this one? Yeah, I didn't like that one. I like this one because, in just thinking through my style of music, it's one that I could keep kind of low and it wouldn't have to really do anything. It could be chill the whole time, but it's also one that I could see myself bringing in some percussion, bringing in some really big piano and strings and making it huge. Yeah, and that's one that like I kind of like some of the thoughts in it. What I'll do is I'll go back and like edit it a little bit and I'll say like, okay. So then I'll take this and drag it a little bit and see what I think if it was like a measure over here. And then I'll drag this one too. Yeah, and I already like that better. I don't know why, but whatever feels inspiring to you and gets you going. Getting in a place where you don't just write one thing that you're like, this is it. I mean, sometimes you'll do that, and I do that sometimes for sure too, but getting to a place where you write something and then you're not too attached to it and you can jumble stuff around and then you save it and you move on to something different and you try a new thing and then maybe you come back the next day and you realize, oh, you know what, that actually is really nice here. And maybe you don't use any of it and you go on, you write something new. Getting to that place where you understand that it's going to be crafting this skill. So do it often. Don't get too attached to one thing. Write a lot of ideas, jumble them around, and move on. And then come back and then do it again the next day and then come back. Again, if you want to get good at writing melodies that really sink in, that you're proud of and that, you know, are making an impact on other people, I do think this is something you got to work on constantly. Okay, so I know I didn't dive really deep into the technical aspects of everything, and maybe at some point I'll do that. Again, that stuff can really help, but I don't think anything takes the place of getting your approach and then just hitting it over and over and over again. Theory will help, knowing voicings, all that stuff will help, but nothing takes the place of sharpening the skill by making a lot of melodies and changing them and then moving on and doing it again.